Hello guys. Welcome to another video. This is Wisdom King YouTube channel. By the way, subscribe over YouTube channel for more exciting videos of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Spoiler alert, in this video used images just for reference. Chapter 2. The Founders Festival. Part 6. If you haven't seen previous videos of Volume 9 yet, take a look, there is a link in the description. So it'd have no effect unless the sword had a will instilled in it. Why? Gazel asked Garbil in his low, stentorian voice, did you want to know something like that? It's simple, my lord. I found it difficult to believe that plants and vegetation growing in the wild have wills of their own, but after experimentation, we found that healing potions work perfectly fine on them. Now that we had full potion mass manufacturing underway, there was a decent quantity to work with. Thus they had been trying it on all sorts of things. Certainly, the desire to learn was the first step toward new discoveries. I recalled the experiments we did in grade school science class, challenging ourselves to do things that seemed pointless at first. Garbil had that same spirit, the first things to just try it out. So it worked on plants, restoring damaged tree bark and producing new buds from broken branches. I then remembered the existence of dryads, Garbil said. Vegetation may have only a weak consciousness at first, but over many months and years of life, they can evolve into powerful monsters, can they not? But as I thought, this may only happen under certain conditions. Around half the audience was taking a keen interest in this explanation. I'd expect the more quick-witted among them to be fascinated, yes. This was the kind of research I'd normally want to keep confidential, after all. Should I let Garbil keep going? The thought, as mean-spirited as it felt, crossed my mind, but I hurriedly brushed it away as I listened on. The only things that react to healing potion are those already intertwined with magicules. Things with no magicules to them at all show no reaction in our testing. What this means is that magicules house consciousness itself, or at least the two are deeply related. Yes. And when Sir Garbil presented these data, it led me to reconsider my thoughts as well. Soon, a question arose in my mind. What are magicules? Magicules were one of this world's unique substances, freely spread around the atmosphere like oxygen. They were the engine for all kinds of mysterious forces, and people could wield them to do their bidding, to some extent. So we have a sample from a certain plant here, and over in this other room, I can show you an enlarged picture of it. We followed Vester to another room, a large, spacious chamber with chairs lined up in rows, something like an AV-equipped college lecture hall. It had a projector, still in the trial testing phases, and there was a stretched out white sheet on the wall to serve as a screen. Gazel curiously observed the projector but remained politely quiet about it, realizing now was not the time. That's Gazel for you, mature enough to pick the right time and place. Once everyone was seated, Garbil turned on the projector, a device with light-based magic inscriptions that let it project color images on the screen. The chamber's lights dimmed as the image appeared, surprising a few in the audience. Take a look at this image, Vester said, ignoring the chatter. It shows the structure of the plant sample you saw before. And this is the structure of some grass, the type you see growing anywhere. He placed the enlarged images next to each other. I didn't get why Vester was acting so haughty here, a certain plant, and so on. What's his aim? Are they not the same? I don't see any difference. No, me neither. Why aren't they the same? The voices in the crowd were met with wide agreement. A few of them weren't as sure, that part is different, no, that part is, but I doubted any of them were on the mark. So what was the answer? Now, let's enlarge these further. What do you think? They look just the same, don't they? Vester and Garbil flashed villainous smiles, and then they revealed the trick. The plant in the first picture as Hippocute herb. The second one as a simple weed we picked from a lawn in town. Do they look the same to you? Vester's question made things begin to dawn on some of the audience. What they saw unnerved them. Hurriedly, they spoke up. They aren't the same. The difference is clear if you look closer. That's mean of you, Sir Vester. How can we tell the difference just from those images? Hippocute was a rare herb. I dined on quite a bit of it in the cave Veldora was sealed in. It's famously the core ingredient of healing potion. Most would assume it's structured far differently from the grass you step on every day. But a few people, myself included, found Vester's question very disturbing. Gazel was one of them. I could see the blood drain from his face. We were showing that Hippocute and regular grass were both structured in the same way, proof that, essentially, they were the same. It begged the question of what, exactly, constituted a rare herb which, in turn, had the potential to overturn common sense itself. Vester lifted his arms up high, that sinister smile still on his face. Quiet. Quiet. Please. He and Gabil waited for things to settle down. When they did, he placed a series of images on the projector. Squeezing the extract from Hippocute and combining its magicules together creates healing potion. The level of this fusion process, as you all know, depends on the properties of the extract produced, and while we cannot go into details, we have successfully refined this extraction process to a purity level of 99%. That is how a full potion is made. Through a variety of images while still hiding the core technology, Vester explained the potion making process. Now we move on to Hippocute leaves. Grinding these leaves and combining their magicules produces a salve that can close wounds, although the effect is not dramatic. This makes sense, since these ground leaves are simply the leavings from the extraction process. An image of a leaf filled the screen. The leaf was shown being ground, then mixed with the extract from before to create an ointment, the basic process behind it. Nothing unnatural. I didn't get where Vester was going with it. Now, everyone, look at this image. On one side, you had leaves from Hippocute herbs grown in a cave, on the other was regular grass. They looked totally different. There was no way they'd have the same organic structure, but as the images flashed by, changes began to occur on the Hippocute side. Do you see? I only came to notice out of sheer coincidence. Sir Rimuru has ordered me to work on a Hippocute cultivation project, but one day, I took an interest in the strained leaves from our extraction process. Making ointment from it is well and good, but it has to be kept under exacting conditions or it quickly loses its effect. Plus, compared to the liquid extract used to make potions, its effect is extremely weak. I didn't give it much thought, since we had other uses for the extract, but if you think about it, do we really need this ointment? So as I said, I began to look at the strained leaves. And then Gabil realized that the shape of these post-extraction leaves, now free of magicules, was different from the Hippocute currently growing in the cave. Shocked, Gabil decided to take more detailed records, resulting in the images he was showing us now. So at the conclusion of all this, we found that, technically speaking, there is no such thing as a Hippocute plant. The plants we call Hippocute are actually mutations. Yes, exclaimed an excited Vester. And it's not that Hippocute grows in magicule-rich areas, it's the magicule concentration itself that causes this mutation and creates Hippocute from simple grass. I could see why he was excited. Everyone who heard him immediately began talking. That's a major discovery. Yes, Sir Vester, this is not the type of thing to announce in a place like this. There could have been some more appropriate occasion. You must contact a scientific society or the like at once and follow the proper announcement procedure. It was chaos inside the room. Even those who didn't take much interest before couldn't stay silent now, and the audience members who had been paying attention from the start were even more astounded. It was beyond anything they imagined, and the "not the type of thing to announce" remark symbolized just how much it roiled the crowd. Gazel, too, had his eyes wide open, and even Englesia and Errol were discussing matters with each other. I was surprised, too. I never gave it much thought before, but the way they put it, it made sense. It was pretty obvious, in fact. I doubted Veldora just happened to be sealed off in a cave full of Hippocute herbs. If that was the result of a mutation, or a plant evolution, that was more convincing. And once all the magicules were extracted from this plant during processing, its shape went back to the plain old grass it once was. The dried, strained samples projected on the screen made it obvious that they shared the same organic structure as regular grass.